I want to try to have a finish off this talk with a bit of a discussion about rape culture. Now, I feel some rad femmes take it to the nth degree, and I don't agree with that because I've come from the early 80s through the 90s. Rape has been used in literature and movies, and oftentimes it's not dealt with the seriousness that it deserves. I absolutely agree that oftentimes rape is misused in things like literature and television shows and things of this nature, but never, ever, ever have I ever seen rape shown, portrayed, or otherwise in a positive light ever. Anytime it's ever done or dealt with, it's always been understood, at least from my experience, from the many movies, TV shows, and everything else I've seen that have ever had a subplot like this, that rape was bad. Rape is not something that men do. Rape is never okay in any circumstance, date rape especially. None of this is good. And the definition that was relayed to me is this idea that we teach people not to get raped. We don't teach don't rape. And I disagree with that definition. That definition I cannot stand by. But that's because that's not the definition of rape culture. The definition as it's been relayed to me, and is one that I can stand by, as relayed to me by Wachter, linked to his videos down in the underbar, is any culture that deals with rape by and large with victim blaming and slut shaming. That's rape culture. And now see, that makes absolute sense, because I have never ever encountered anybody who is like, hey kids, it's fun to rape. Rape, rape, rape. And people to go off the deep end with that definition. Oh, if you've ever laughed at a rapist joke, you're a rape supporter. If you have ever, laughed at a pun that dealt with rape, you're a rape supporter, and so on and so forth. And all these things that on the surface would kind of work, but when you go more than just skin deep, these are people's preferences and hatreds of a subject that, in a way, they just want to go away. They act as if they're activists towards this, but they're not. It's people like Wachter, people who are actually dealing with the real, live version of rape and all of its evils and all of its horrors, who are the people who are actually trying to deal with the actual rape culture. Because I've talked about this off and on, and I still feel it's a very valid point. I've not heard anybody take me up on it that much, and it's one that I feel is worth talking about, though. I know a lot of you out there know the definition of rape. I certainly know the definition of rape. The problem is, legally, logistically, we're constantly shifting the definition of rape, at least here in the United States of America. We're constantly recreating it, we're dressing it up, we're turning it into rape, the sex you didn't know you wanted. Rape, it's all part of God's plan, and so on and so forth, because we've muddied the waters by trying to throw abortion into rape, that we've lost the point of what rape is entirely in this country. So part of my problem with trying to define a rape culture to a small degree, at least in the United States, is by whom's definition are we talking about rape? You might think that's a silly question, but then consider this. When you've got people like Gail Dines, who are not only trying to convince America, or at least was for a while, that if a grown woman shaves her genitalia, she is trying to make her vagina look clean, look hairless and young, paving the way for an industry filled with child pornography, because that's the slippery slope of porn. It starts off with shaved vaginas and ends with prepubescent children engaging in disgusting acts. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. But so many rad femmes have basically stated emphatically that no matter what the circumstances of porn is, whether it's somebody who has gone to do porn of their own accord, that no drugs, no coercion, no anything is involved. Even if it's a part of their sexuality, somehow these women were corrupted and coerced. Therefore, porn is legalized rape. No, I am not joking. Google it if you want to have a good laugh and then a good cry, because then you realize that these people actually believe this stuff. And that's where we get stuck here. We took something so rudimentary as rape, and we have complicated it to the degree that, sure, rape culture does exist. But in terms of dealing with rape and rape culture, by whom's definition do we work with? I like Wachters because Wachters is one that we need to solve. When we're constantly victim blaming, oh, you were dressed all slutty-like and you got raped. Oh, that's not a rape. You were asking for it. Oh, you work in the sex industry and somebody didn't pay you and they raped you. Well, you should have thought of that before becoming a slut, because you're a non-person to us now, and therefore you have no human rights. You can no longer call rape, because a slut cannot be raped by definition, or at least by society's definition. It means that when people have legitimate rapes, they cannot be persecuted, cannot be prosecuted. The military is a huge issue with this as well. It's something that I've talked about, and it's not just women who are being raped in the military. It's men and women, and getting concrete figures on the men are hard because of gender roles and expectations by society that you're a soldier. You can take being raped. Oh, come on. It's no big deal. You get raped and you get over it. Walk it off, soldier. As well as with the women, it's just, oh, you were asking for it. You should have known, being assigned to close quarters with Jenkins, who we knew before going into the military had attempted rape on several occasions, or actually had done an actual rape, but we took him anyways, and then we assigned him, knowing his preferences for women, to you, and you got raped because you're so rapeable. Yes, there are people willing to say that women are just so dang rapeable. Now, I'm not saying there's no such thing as false rape claims, and that hurts us just as much as not getting justice for these women and these men. Because oftentimes, these women will slightly agree with the critics, but not in the ways that they would like. Sometimes the rape isn't the worst part of their experience. Sometimes the not getting justice, sometimes the not getting a prosecution of somebody who has in some cases been so violent with them that they've actually broken people's bones and dislocated things within this person. It's like we're raping them via the justice system all over again. So tell me again that there's no such thing as a rape culture. I will tell you emphatically, even though I'm not supposed to fuck right off. Because this isn't right. Nothing about this is okay. Nothing about this should be okay. We should not be #1 in sex crimes and rapes. We should be #1 in industry and science. Instead, we're pretty high up there in the standings of the world, and I don't know about you, but I'm not too happy about that. And that's before we even get into the military rapes, which aren't tallied with the national results, by the way.